So, little bit of a complication with the RILLABOOM Tera raids. We didn't realize that bulk up was going to be a problem. So, kind of scrap everything we had planned before. This is going to require a bit more of a new solution to actually meet it. And the answer is not physical attackers. Other than Zacian, it is very much special attackers. Because bulk up spam is obnoxious. This is basically the same Cinderace raid all over again. Just a little easier than actually Cinderace. Or hard, depending on your perspective. But I think it's generally pretty easy than Cinderace raid. So it isn't quite that our old physical attackers are obsolete as much as it is a slight modification needs to be done for it. And that's just shutting down the boosting. Best way to actually answer the boosting is actually clear Smog. Best one for this is actually Cerule Edge. RILLABOOM's entire moveset is drum beating, acrobatics, what we called. Doesn't actually have Wood Hammer, but it has drum beating for speed control, low kick, and body slam, as well as bulk up, growth, and boom burst. Boom burst you don't have to worry about, and growth is a little problematic, but only if it's using that. But the bigger issue is bulk up right now. The bigger issue is the bulk up, and this is why we want the clear Smog. Clear Smog completely eliminates any of its stat boosts. Now, of course, it removes debuffs if you apply debuffs, but it's lesser of two evils to get rid of any debuffs you inflict than it is to allow RILLABOOM to keep its insane boost. Because again, the same thing has happened with the Cinderace raids. If it stacks up like 2 bulk ups minimum, your damage is going to be cut in half, and it's going to be doing double damage. You're not really dealing with this thing pretty well. And again, Clear Smog is really the best thing for this. Cerule Edge, I would say, is the best because, again, body slam, low kick, you're immune to both of those. You can't be paralyzed because, again, no body slams. You resist the drum beating, and the only thing it can really hit you with is acrobatics, which, yes, acrobatics is a decent move, but if it's not super effective, it really isn't doing that much damage to you. But as for our new attackers, all of these are special attackers, and Lucario is not among them. So I know a lot of people getting hopes about that. It is weak to low kick, and Lucario is incredibly frail. The good thing is, because Noble Roar is not a part of its moveset, we don't actually have to worry about any of these getting debuffed. But the big one is, best one is actually Goldengo. You resist basically everything. You are bulky. You are also, you resist all of its moves. It has nothing it can hit you with. You resist acrobatics, you resist drum beating, you have metal sound, you have nasty plot. You've got just about the best kit possible to take on a grass, normal fighting and flying move user. And you get metal sound again, nasty plot, good as gold. Well, getting good as gold doesn't come into play here. But flash cannon. And depending on what you want to do, you could go Tera Blast fighting, but I don't recommend that. I think it would just be better to go double down to terrestrialize steel moves, because if you can get a flash cannon off, potentially get a special defense drop, that's pretty good. But again, solos for this don't really work. The Corviknight will not work for this. The defense boosting was not a part of that equation. So we're not really going to be focusing on a solo idea, because I don't think a solo is even possible for this. And the best case scenario for this is you let the other guys go to work debuffing it, or you can debuff it yourself. But you do need to worry about when you terrestrialize it, if you're steel. Low kick is going to do a lot of damage to you with those stack ups that it's got. But yes, you're just going to blast it with Tera Steel moves. So Flash Cannon, Make It Rain. Pretty standard, straightforward. Skeleturge is kind of the next one. And this is kind of the one that I think could possibly be the only one that can really solo it. Because you have Unaware, so the stat boosts don't bother you. And then you can just load up with fire moves. You can go Overheat, Flamethrower, Torch Song, whatever you need, Blast Burn. And then just stack up your boost, and then just nuke it with Terrifier. When you terastallize, that's the only difficult part, because then you can possibly get paralyzed, which that's the issue, that's why avoiding the paralysis is kind of a big thing, as that completely destroys consistency. When you're going for probably 10, 20 turns of battle, you're not really going to want paralysis. You have a 25% chance, so meaning 1 in 4 turns you will get paralyzed, which is not good. So Iron Hands is the best option, because you can't get paralyzed, but terastallized. But, yes, Skeletor basically completely walls most of what it can do, and Torch Song allows you to just continue snowballing. Again, for standard, max special attack, modest, you can go max speed or max HP. Personally, I would probably go HP and then give the Shell Bell. But, yeah, it's fairly simple for Skeletors. And then here's the final weird one, and that's Giratina. Don't recommend it. It's kind of silly if you want to do it, but yes, Giratina, it's profoundly bulky, but its damage is not very good. Giratina is not a special attacker, it's actually it's a mixed tank, and it doesn't really have special boosting options, so if you want to use it, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Alright, so one day later, Max is here recording, and in the intervening time, I thought of another idea for the RILLABOOM Tera raids, and that is Bellybolt. Electromorphosis Rillaboom, you can't be paralyzed because you're an electric type already. Electromorphosis boost your electric type moves every time you attack, and you resist you resist acrobatics. You are not resistant to, of course, the damage from grass. You're not resistant to the grass-type damage from beating, especially the grass terrain boosted one, but you are gaining healing, and you do get some pretty useful tech kits. You get Parabolic Charge, which is a healing move, obviously. You have Acid Spray, which cripples its special defense. And you also get Mud Slap, which I wouldn't recommend Mud Slap, because yes, you can get some cheeky avoidances here and there, but it also can be potentially problematic with stacking up things. Though, one notable factor is it doesn't actually stat purge. It doesn't stat purge itself, so any debuffs you apply to it will stay for the entire fight. Which means you can potentially decrease its accuracy and decrease its special defense, and then just keep crushing it. It is honestly kind of a little funny, at least for me, for how far off the mark we were, and that we really didn't expect them to be this jerkish. I mean, leading off with growth, then just spamming bulk ups. Granted, Cinderace kind of did the same exact thing, so we kind of could have expected it. But yeah, it's just kind of funny.
But now for your supports. Well, your supports in addition to the, Cerulege, which we mentioned before. But you're going to want to focus on special defense down, so Fake Tears users, Acid Spray users, pretty much the standard ones. Taunt users, I would also say you're pretty good here. Grimmsnarl, Taunt, for fantastic reasons. You know, Taunt obviously shuts it down from being able to use stack up moves. Then Light Screen, Reflect, Reflected. Reflect is the better one here because you're not really going with special attacks. And Fake Tears, of course, Chilling Water helps just completely cripple its physical attack. But yeah, your options here are kind of tricky. They were jerks when making this Rillaboom raid, and I guess that's kind of the point of when it comes to like these very seemingly obvious Tera raids, where it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna bring in this one typing against us. Well, we're gonna go out of our way to counter the one thing that works against it. Like, it's a bit similar to what they did with Typhlosion and a bit similar to what they did with Cinderace, but it's a little easier in the sense of, well, you just use various steel types. But again, even then they have low kick, which, granted, low kick's damage is weight based and can't really do much against very light steel types, but that's not really how steel types tend to work, and it's tricky. At least like with this raid. It's not particularly weak to any special attackers, which again, because there's very few special attack fighting types that are good. Like Iron Valiant does not have a lot of bulk. It gets nuked by acrobatics. Lucario is weak to low kick. And not a whole lot of Pokemon learn Aura Sphere. And very few of them actually get stab on it. So it's a tricky raid to do. Your best case here really is not even soloing again. Game Freak is, well, Game Freak was being a jerk with this raid because they are not wanting people to solo these raids. These raids are designed to get people to cooperate and work together, and it seems every so often they give us one easy raid that, you know, they give us Inteleon, which was a complete joke. It was a joke to solo. And then they give us soloable raids like Chestnut, which they weren't super easy, but they weren't super hard. You know, it was kind of this middle ground of you can solo it with, you know, not much difficulty, but also, you know, it could be a little tricky. And then they do, like, the Cinderace ones, the Greninja ones. This one, where it's just kind of absurd to kind of solo it because it's just stacking up insane boosts. I don't really understand why, and I'd like, you know, your guys' comments as well about why. They know that people are not very interested in these Tera raids. Once you catch the Pokemon, there's no reason to go do them. I think Game Freak just doesn't understand what the players actually want. But if you guys haven't done so already and you're stuck to this whole rambling nonsense thing, thank you very much. Please do not forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Our stuff is generally more coherent than this. This is being recorded at basically midnight on the day of the RILLABOOM Tera raids. And I kind of feel it's important to get out my correction video for the actual Tera raid counters because of how completely off the mark I was before. But considering this is the first one we've kind of totally screwed up, I'd say that's kind of a win for us. I'd say that's kind of a win. But see you guys next time. Let's roll out. We're kind of not doing the roly-poly thing. I don't know. It kind of feels a little pretentious in re-recordings of things. So we're changing things up. We're trying to figure stuff out now.